Surviving infidelity. As I suspected, my wayward wife has contacted her affair partner. She will now face the consequences. Original post: I am approaching the 1-year anniversary of my D-Day. Here is my story. We are both in our mid-40s. We have been together for more than 30 years, since high school. We have 2 teenage children. My wife, her choice, has been a stay-at-home mom for most of the last 15 years, whilst I have worked hard in a stressful but well-paid job to provide for our family. A few years ago my wife and I went through the traumatic experience of the death of one of our children. My wife struggled more than myself. I tried to remain strong for her and our other children. She had bereavement counselling, but that did not help her. Her mental state due to our loss was all over the place, and things got progressively worse with our marriage. Around 2 years ago, we had a massive drunken argument. I said lots of nasty things, called her names, no physical abuse. I was stupid and immature. I did not apologize for my outburst, and this resulted in a dead bedroom and a lack of good communication. I turned to alcohol and I became depressed about the whole situation. This time last year, I was considering divorce. I wanted things to get better between us, but I knew we both had to change for that to happen. As a last throw of the dice, I suggested marriage counseling. She declined, but I had individual counseling. This helped me. I gave up drinking. I also lost weight and got into my best ever physical shape with lots of exercise. My mental health and attitude towards my wife improved. We were both happier. We had just started becoming intimate again and it looked like our marriage could survive. So things were looking up again, until by sheer chance I discovered her affair. In retrospect, there were lots of red flags, but I always trusted her and assumed she would never cheat on me. I did some snooping and confronted her with only a small amount of what I knew. Initially, the affair was denied and I got trickle truth. For example, she told me she had only kissed her affair partner a few times, but her story had lots of holes in it. I caught her totally off guard with the confrontation and my questions. The next day, I was all set to show her my proof that they had gone beyond kissing each other, when she admitted to having unprotected intercourse on more than one occasion with the affair partner, but it was over now as he had finished it. The physical affair had started not longer after our big drunken argument the year before. She came out with the classic line, "I still loved you, but was no longer in love with you." She recently told me that because of the arguments that she thought I no longer loved her when her affair started. This was not true. I did still love her, despite our problems, as she would have found out if we were communicating and had asked me. Following her confession, I took my wife's phone off her. She gave me the passcode and passwords to email and social media apps. I read all their available messages. There were gaps in chats probably removed just before her confession of the physical affair, but by now, I had pretty much the full story. The day after I messaged the affair partner from my wife's phone to get his side of the story, and to threaten him should he carry on seeing my wife. His story matched my wife's version. He had finished the physical affair due to the damage it would cause to both families, and he wanted a life with his betrayed spouse and not my ward wife. He told me what an amazing person my wife was. She had fallen for him, and that's when he ended it because it was getting too serious for him. He apologized to me and said that he would tell his wife what he had done. I told him that was up to him, as I didn't want someone else to suffer the pain I had suffered. I told him that if he ever saw my wife again, then I would tell his wife. I did not tell him to break off contact because my plan was to install keylogger software on my wife's phone. Bear in mind that we were in the middle of lockdown at this point in time, so there was no way that they could see each other. For the next few weeks, they would message each other. My wife told her affair partner that I knew about them. The affair partner did not tell her that I had messaged him. It was amusing to watch this unfold. They were now having arguments and blaming each other for their affair. My wife, in an attempt to save our marriage or stop me kicking her out of our house, was love bombing me, and at the same time giving her affair partner gripes for using her and treating her badly. However, she also said she wished that they could see each other and chat properly about what had happened. She did appear to show remorse for how much her actions had hurt me. She admitted to me that she had been selfish. I asked her if she had ever cheated on me before. She answered that with a subtle difference to the question, that it was her one and only affair. I am now suspicious she had a one-night stand with a former boyfriend many years ago, but I have no proof. She said she had fallen back in love with me because I had changed for the better. But as we all know, actions speak louder than words, and you cannot believe a word that a cheater says. Even at this point she was still sending messages to him, although they were innocent messages, as they were discussing their hobby, which is where they first met and got to know each other as friends. I phoned a lawyer to discuss my options and see how things would look should we divorce. My wife overheard some of the conversation, and this seemed to wake her up to the reality of the situation. Soon after, my wife sent a final message to the affair partner telling him that she would not be chatting any longer and he was not to get in touch with her ever again. Contact between them did stop, and at this point, I gave her some boundaries and the consequences should she break them. One of the rules was, no contact or see the affair partner ever again, and if he contacted her to let me know immediately. I told her if she broke that rule, I would divorce her. She agreed to this. I told her she needed counseling to work on herself and find the reasons why she did what she did. She agreed, although said she felt forced to go, but only went twice and then stopped, telling me she already knows the reasons for her affair, so did not need any more counseling. I saw the same counselor a dozen times, and despite client confidentiality, my counselor did tell me my wife was remorseful. This was a few months ago. My wife and I have been getting on better than ever. I do love her, but I have not forgiven her yet. There has been no contact between my wife and her affair partner, but I have reason to believe that may change shortly. Finally, given all that information, the questions I have are, 1. Does anyone think my wife has any chance of redeeming herself and remaining faithful to me, or should I run a mile? 2. Should she contact the affair partner again, as I suspect she will, even though it will be to chat about something innocent? Should I file for divorce as she will have broken the no contact rule? 3. If divorce is not the answer, is there anything else she or I should do for a successful reconciliation? Now let's read the top advice before reading the update. Cheaters are prone to what I call bursts. She will remain totally 100% faithful to you, 100%. Until she doesn't. Right now, you're just sitting wondering how long this burst of loyalty will last. Have reason to believe that may change shortly. I dunno about you, but I can't live like this. I come home to be at peace. My marriage is my safe port in the storm. Being a jailer? Nah, I wasn't built for that. Once you reach 49, you'll find you don't have the stomach for drama anymore. Either she's with me or she isn't. If she isn't fully committed, bon voyage, it's been fun. This 1000% she was with him, you caught her, she was kind of loyal, to not lose OP. But she kept talking to him, because she wanted both. Only after OP showed seriousness and assertiveness, by calling a lawyer, she decided that she didn't want to be divorced, she didn't want to lose OP. That's because getting divorced and losing OP are part of the cake she wants to have and eat it too, so she started feeling bad because she was losing it. So, she is feeling bad. To make it stop and solve the problem equals love bombing and stop talking to a fair partner. That is because 1, OP is easier to gain, and 2, more damaging to lose. When the dust settles and you are okay, the game continues, maybe not with a fair partner, maybe another one. The only one I would put a little trust on, would be on the affair partner, if he told his wife out of guilt and morals. He took the initiative and stopped it willingly. But he kept talking to your wife. I view it as him not wanting OP's wife to cause mess in his life. OP, first, you don't need more reasons to divorce, you have already lost your trust, don't lose your time. Also, teen kids won't grow well in a toxic environment, and you are showing them to put up with disrespect and cheating. Second, tell affair partner's wife, have some morals. Maybe you don't see it this way because your wife's affair was short and ended. Imagine being married and discover that during said marriage, there had been an affair for years, years of your life wasted on someone who is not worth it. Don't deprive her of information. If she forgives him or not should be her decision. It hurts, but she needs to know. So, nobody is gonna let his wife know? You are protecting them, thus making it easy for them to continue despite threats you make. Expose that crap. If I had been on here just prior to D-Day, then I would have handled things differently. There is a reason I don't want to expose now. I will cover that separately. For me, it looks like you didn't tell his wife, afraid he might get divorced and then be available to your wife, ending up leaving you, since she clearly has feelings for him. That was one of my considerations at D-Day. Things have changed since then. I am certain my wayward wife and affair partner will not be getting together again. And now for the update. I posted my story a couple of weeks ago. I received lots of helpful advice and also some vitriol in the chat function. I read all the replies, but could not respond to all of them due to time. I ignored the abuse. There are some strange people out there, no idea what your agenda is, but it's water off a duck's back to me. To recap, the timeline is not exact, but the story is. We have been together for over 30 years. We started dating at high school. 2 years ago, my wife and I were going through a rough patch and she had an affair. D-Day was 12 months ago at the start of lockdown. Unbeknown to my wife, I read some of their messages. It appeared as though the physical affair was over, but they were still in contact. I later discovered that he had finished the physical affair 7 months prior to D-Day, probably because my wayward wife had fallen in love with him and he was never going to leave his wife. She was upset and hurt that he had dumped her, especially as he had told my wife that he loved her. They remained friends and continued to message each other. My wife told him that she could not get him out of her head. This time last year I had never heard of Reddit, I did not know who to ask for help or advice. I know my methods are a bit messed up, but my cunning plan was to try and get the whole truth about the affair and determine if our marriage could be saved. Not an easy thing to do when you cannot believe a word a cheater says. My wife could not see the affair partner, so I assumed she would contact him using her phone to tell him that I knew about their affair. For the next 6 months, whilst we were supposedly trying to fix things, I could without my wife's knowledge see their messages. Some brief highlights are as follows. They both lied to each other and they both blamed each other for the affair. He said their friendship crossed the line and he regretted what they did. My wife never said she regretted the affair. He cherished their moments together but also wanted to try and forget it ever happened, an oxymoron? My wife told him that she hated him and that he had used her, he denied this, but other times she said that she missed him, also contradictory. She said that she was broken and she could not live with the hurt she had caused me, so at times she did display some signs of remorse. On a number of occasions, she said that she would not be able to see him again and she was not going to contact him ever again. A few days later she would message him. During these 6 months, I got myself into great physical shape. I had individual counseling. There was hysterical bonding. My wife told me that she had made a huge mistake, she wanted a future with me, I meant the world to her, she had fallen back in love with me. I asked her if she could go back in time and change things, what would she do differently? Her reply was to not let a good friendship turn into an affair, and fix things between us before the affair started. She told me that she would accept any consequences, but begged me not to tell our children what she had done. Our children do not deserve to be hurt. The truth was, she did not want them to hate her. On the plus side, my wayward wife did not say anything derogatory about me to the affair partner, at least not from the messages I have read, but she must have said stuff about our marriage to him previously. He said things like, I hope you can correct the things that were wrong between you, I hope you can move forward, etc. On the negative side, my wayward wife told him that I loved her and she was going to be okay, presumably because she thought I was not going to leave her, but she never said to the affair partner that she loved me. At one point, she got angry with the affair partner and said all I need is my children. She never said that she needed me or loved me. 6 months ago, I thought reconciliation was going to be impossible. I rang a lawyer to discuss my options, my wife eavesdropped on some of the conversation, I don't know how much she heard, but this was the wake-up call she obviously needed. At this point her attitude changed and she finally broke off contact with the affair partner. I set some boundaries and consequences. The main one being, no contact under any circumstances otherwise I will divorce her. She agreed to all my conditions. Given all the messages I had read between them I was doubtful that she would not contact him again, but for 5 months she maintained no contact, and things seemed to be going in the right direction between us. A few weeks ago, my wife discovered from a mutual friend of theirs that the affair partner has an incurable disease. I thought she would contact him and sure enough she has done. She has betrayed my trust yet again. The messages were innocent enough to begin with, she sent him positive thoughts, she hoped the treatment would be a success, but then she said, get better soon and look forward to seeing you soon. And the final dagger into my broken heart, wayward wife, one last thing. Do you regret meeting me? Affair partner, no. Wayward wife, good, me neither. That's all folks. I am done with her, there is nothing left worth fighting for. I know divorce is going to cause me and our children hurt and financial hardship. I know she has mental issues, but she is not willing to get help and I cannot force her. I know there is no point wasting any additional time trying to understand her actions, but I still wonder how she could do this to me and our children? I am going to speak to a lawyer again. This time without her knowing and get her served. I hope to get joint custody of our children. The starting point for the split of our financial assets will be 50-50, but I want to try and get more than this by hook or by crook. I will be receiving some inheritance once the house of my deceased relative is sold. I also have Bitcoin that I purchased a few years ago and the value of this has increased to a nice amount of money. I also have a large pension pot. Is it possible to prevent my soon-to-be ex-wife getting her hands on the proceeds? Edit. Thanks everyone for your replies. Some really helpful info. I am in the UK. I will try and answer as many questions as I can. Now for some comments. I am so sorry she did this to you, but you're making the right choice. So sick that she thinks it's okay to even be that way toward her affair partner, but not toward you. The very person who stood beside her even when she torched your whole relationship. I don't understand how they don't get it. Why is some momentary fantasy relationship more important than the people who actually love you and sacrifice everything for you? You will be better off without this piece of garbage dangling off you. It's not hard to understand. She is detached from the relationship because she doesn't have OP in her thoughts. She doesn't have OP as a lover, but she sees him like a cash cow or the father of her kids. The point is that she is detached so she doesn't care anymore about him. All actions from this perspective are explainable. Now, she thinks the other dude is her great love that was never meant to be, because there were never consequences. Her marriage is just a mechanical thing while the other relationship was the magical one and the real one. She doesn't feel guilty because she doesn't have feelings for her husband anymore. Her loyalty is to the other dude, even if she tells otherwise. I still don't understand how people can view those who stand by them as appliances for their convenience. I would feel so terrible for even considering such an action. Where are these people's sense of compassion and loyalty? How does that just evaporate? Unfortunately, the problem with reconciliation is you're not only fighting your own demons, but basically having to compete with the emotional attachment between wayward wife and her affair partner. There are reasons why many people on here say don't stay with her. It's because of experience. We have been through this, and know that love fog you have with your wife is just as strong as their cheating fog. But at least for you, lesson learned. Most wayward wife never really get over their APs. Good luck, friend. It's insane to me how they view affair partners. Most of the time, they're less attractive and never did a damn thing for them, especially in comparison to what you did for them as their spouse. In the minds of these sick people, years of being there for them, sharing life with them, the gifts, the kids, the memories, the vacations, etc., seem to pale in comparison to some excitement of cheap intercourse. They gave up everything for someone who is simply using you for it. They become obsessed with them. It's so crazy. When you look at my wife's affair partners, they weren't even good looking. Neither were rich and neither were good guys. But when you're a narc and there's some new male attention to be had, I guess you have to pounce. Get off Reddit and hire a damn good attorney. She'll tell you what to do, and not to do, and what to say, and not to say. Follow her advice to the T. She's your advocate. She, unlike anyone else, will be looking out for your well-being as her sole responsibility. Don't BS yourself into thinking you're tough enough to handle this. You aren't. Get a therapist. Talk to family, kids and friends. And in the end, be the best you. That's all you can do right now. Now for last story. Upgrading my soon-to-be ex, to a full-blown ex in 90 minutes. A little backstory. I 34 male first found this sub 8 months ago when struggling with a decision to make. To leave my cheating ex, 30 female, of 11 years, or continue living thinking I'm paranoid and delusional. I'll be honest, without the support I got from every single individual here, I would have gone with the latter. It took 8 months of sheer turmoil cohabitating with this person, but I'm happy to say I made it. And I thank everyone who stuck by me to give me the much needed reality check I needed at the time. I left my ex with no friends or family in tow to give me support. I was depressed for weeks, kept thinking I'll die alone. Slowly but surely as I got closer to the finish line, it got better. I have friends who love me and care about me. I got to leave with my dignity and my integrity at the end, and everything I experienced at the hands of my ex was a lesson in what not to do again. I'm happy and sad and overwhelmed with emotions right now, and I just felt like I should share this with anyone struggling. You deserve better, you deserve respect, loyalty and compassion from your partners. And it's your right to stand for what you need. This is not the end, this is just the beginning. At the end, it's a game of endurance, it's not sprint when walking away from a cheater. They will use every trick in the book to hang on to you for dear life. But keep true to your goal and you will see the light at the end. It's done. I'm free LOL. Now for the top comments. Now is the beginning of the upward trajectory. Love yourself and look after yourself, after all you're the most important person you know. Exactly. Today's definitely all about me, haha. It's been a really tough journey, but a rewarding one nonetheless. Learning how to love myself was a tough nut to crack. You are strong and courageous. Always remember who you are and don't let anyone change that. I don't know you, but I am very proud of you after reading this. I always say, life is colorful. Sounds like you have found a blank canvas to paint. Peace with you. Thank you so much for your kind words. My face just lit up. You are gonna be more than fine. It gets way better and doesn't feel this horrible for long. I was 31 years married when this happened to me. At 53 living a fun, loving, fulfilled life. No longer always checking my back or walking on eggshells is so freeing. The loneliness leaves, and you are open to finding real love, and a respectful partnership like you deserve. Good luck! Oh wow, Thank you so much for sharing that with me. I'm definitely confident I'll find happiness. Every passing day I feel less and less lonely and just happy overall. And that's it for this video, guys. If you have thoughts to share, leave a comment below. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you like this content. I'll catch you in the next one. Good day, everyone.